Slinging virtual wax, we'll show you how one record label went from this to this, today on The Lab.
Well, hello, how are you? Good to see you and welcome. Wait a minute, just a moment. Whoa! Welcome to the Lab with Leo. Thank you for whatever there's in there. I appreciate it. I'm Leo Laporte. This is Kate Abraham.
Hello.
Bright yellow today.
Bright yellow to match the set.
Because it's a beautiful sunny day in Leo Land.
Are you surprised?
It's always a sunny day in Leo Land. That's why we have no windows. Actually, there's snow on the mountain. It's a beautifal day today out in Vancouver.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We're so glad you're here today, episode 146, and a fun show. Actually, I'm really interested in this first guests. Ralph Alfonso and Allison Rogers are with Bongo Beat, a record label that sells music in Second Life. We've heard of, Reuters has a news bureau there, Sweden has a consulate there, and now there's a record store, a real record store there. Interesting idea. Second Life is a virtual world that's getting more and more like the real world all the time. We'll take a look. Also, we're going to talk to Nick Bouton about getting started with Yahoo's GUI maker, UI. Yahoo User Interface. It's actually very interesting if you're a web developer, especially. This will be of interest to you. Of course, you've got a tip. Yes. Sean's got a shiny. Absolutely. And we've got calls galore. Let's get our first call on there. It's amazing.
It's amazing. We have Cindy, and she's from Madison in Mississippi.
Whoa! Hello. Thank you. Hello, Cindy. How are you today?
Hi, Leo. It's sunny in Mississippi, too.
Isn't that nice?
I only wish I could see some snow.
Oh, no, you don't. Snow's fun for the first 5 minutes. Then you have to shovel it.
That's right.
If you're just visiting it, it's great. Well, it's nice to talk to you, Cindy.
Great to talk to you, Leo.
Thank you.
I'm very excited to talk with you today. First of all, I just want to say I have a friend that brought me over to the Mac world and about a year ago, and I am so excited to be in the Mac world.
Oh, good. So it's been a good experience for you.
Has been a great experience. And then I have another friend that introduced me to your podcast, and I wanted to visit with you just a little bit today. I have converted to the Leopard version, so got that installed.
Good.
I've not been a big iChat or video conferencing guru before that time, but, just only a couple of times. Once I installed the Leopard version, all of a sudden I had issues with iChat.
Oh, interesting.
Now, I'm trying to iChat with my two grandsons, the ages of 4 and 4 months.
Oh, isn't that neat? Oh, how fun.
So this is very important to me.
Yeah.
I'm a Comcast subscriber.
Okay.
And I realized after looking at several of the discussion forums that it could be issues with Comcast, could be issues with Leopard. And also, my son has recently just purchased a Mac, and they are an AOL dial-up customer.
So that's going to be a big problem. Dial-up is very bad for this kind of thing.
Okay.
So you want to? Let me ask you a couple of questions. Are you doing video chat? I presume, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And what's not working? Are you able to text chat with them?
I am able to text chat.
Okay.
I have had some audio chat, but no video.
And what happens when you go to the iChat settings and you look in the video section? Are you able to see yourself? Does the picture show up there, or does it not see a camera at all?
Yeah, I can see myself. I can see all the video, and then once I try to dial in and do the video chat, I get a communication error.
Ah, okay, excellent. So it's not Leopard, and it's not your computer. It's not even you. So here's the issue, and this happens actually all the time. In order for you to do the video chat, you have to have the ability to communicate with their router and make a connection with their system. They have either recently added a network router, or they put security software. Maybe they turned on the firewall, but in some way they're blocking your incoming connection.
Okay.
you might ask them to call you and try to establish a connection with you. Sometimes, if your protection is different or lesser than theirs, they can get to you, but you can't get to them. The problem is on their side right now because it's you trying to connect with them and they're refusing your connection.
Okay.
So that means they have some sort of security hardware or software blocking the incoming call.
Okay.
And now, I'm going to recommend a couple of things. First of all, iChat isn't very good for getting around these problems, but there is a program that does a great job of it called Skype. Have you heard about Skype?
I have on your show.
Yeah, it's free. It, I think, does a better job of voice and video chat. And best of all, it goes right around those routers and firewalls in general. It almost never is stopped. It does something called NAT traversal, which iChat does not do.
Okay.
So iChat gets stymied by the firewall. Now you can, and you could tell your son to go in and fiddle with the firewall settings and make it and open up a port for iChat, but it's kind of complicated. It's actually instant messaging. The other problem is a bigger problem, which is that they're on dial-up. They're not going to have much speed in terms of video. What you might be able to do is send them video, but you may not be able to see your grandkids, which kind of would spoil the whole fun of it, wouldn't it?
Right, right.
Yeah, as long as they're on dial-up, it's going to be very hard for you to see video from them.
Okay. Well, the second part of my question to that is they've been investigating satellite internet service.
Yeah,
And
that's not going to help, though, unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
It improves the downstream a lot. And there's quite a few of these, probably, DirecTV's system is probably the best for them, especially if they already have DirecTV. But unfortunately, the nature of satellite internet is such that the downstream's good. You might get up to 400 kilobits or more. But the upstream, because you're actually sending a signal to a satellite, the upstream is slow. It's actually modem slow. And unfortunately, that's exactly the problem in Skype and AOL and all of these other things, is that they need good upstream bandwidth because you're sending a picture up to them. And so even with satellite, I wouldn't tell them to get satellite just to do this. It certainly isn't going to help.
But satellite would help them.
Will not help. It will only help them for speeding up their browsing.
Right, right.
And it will do that big time.
Okay.
So they live in a rural area where they can't get cable or DSL?
Very rural.
Yeah.
Cable is coming, but it's not there yet.
Okay.
And there were a couple of satellite internet services we were investigating, but, I've read some good things and I've read some bad things out on the net about them, so kind of reluctant.
Yeah, none of them will give you enough bandwidth to do Skype. And you spend a lot of money for the equipment up front, hundreds of dollars.
Right.
For people in rural areas, it really is often the only choice, although they might check around. More and more we're seeing rural providers offer other forms of wireless internet that are faster, like WiMAX or MMDS, which is a microwave distribution system. There are better ways of doing this than satellite. So they might inquire to see if anybody, but if they're a really rural area, it's going to be hard. And the real problem, unfortunately, is there's too few people in that area to justify putting a lot of physical plant in, right?
Correct.
And so the phone company doesn't want to do it. The cable, I'm surprised they're getting cable. That's actually good news, because what you hope is it'll be a modern cable company that will put in data as well as television. And if they do that, then you're golden. Then you're going to be, it'll be great, full screen pictures and everything. So to solve your problem, get Skype. It really works better than iChat. I love Skype. And as far as satellite, don't do it for the Skype or the iChat, but certainly if they want to speed up their browsing, it's one way to do it. My experience is it's very expensive, and it doesn't make a huge amount of difference, especially since the upstream is so bad. Hey, Cindy, it's so good to talk to you. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate your listening to the shows on the internet as well. That's great. Coming up, we're going to talk about a different way to sell music. See, record companies, the smart ones, are looking at new business models. And Ralph Alfonso and Allison Rogers from Bongo Beat have a great idea. Selling to you in the virtual world. We'll talk about it when the lab continues. Stay right here. Welcome back to the lab. Time to talk about music. Music in the digital age. It's very different nowadays. Ralph Alfonso and Allison Rogers are co-owners of Bongo Beat Records. Happen to be husband and wife as well, which is nice. and longtime musicians and part of the music scene. You've seen a lot of changes. Well, you're not so long, but he's been here forever. So you've seen a lot of changes over time, and it's a difficult time now to be a record label, isn't it?
It's extremely hard. You're up against this whole download thing, and basically people have the perception that music is free.
Right.
and you've got to give them something if you want them to pay for it.
Right.
So it's putting a lot of the major labels who are behind the times. A lot of them are going out of business.
But it is an opportunity for somebody like you.
Fantastic for us.
Because you're more nimble and you can be more with it and see what's going on. And I mean, you're still putting stuff on plastic, I see. That's not going away.
That's never going to go away.
In fact, see, these are some of your newer CDs. This is, I can't wait to get this. This is Katrina and the Waves, the original recordings before they sexed them up. They Phil Spectored them, right?
That's right.
With the saxophone and all that stuff. I can't wait to hear this. Ari Shine, another one of your artists.
Fantastic Los Angeles songwriter.
Marin Cadell.
She's a he now, but the big international hit was called The Sweater.
Oh, yeah.
And that's on that
Oh,
album.
yeah. You can even see the sweater. It's blue. And then this is your own CD.
That's right. I also perform, yeah.
Of kind of jazz, poetry, styling, beatnik.
Beatnik, baby.
But you were big in the punk scene, too.
That's right.
So it's really interesting to see how things have changed over the last few decades. And
Everything is speeding by very quickly.
Yeah.
And as you say, you've got to be on top of it and be nimble. And
can you get on iTunes with this stuff? Is that where you want to be if you're a record label these days?
It's a must.
Yeah. And how are they with independent labels? I mean, can you go to them and say, we've got music, or do you have to be EMI?
You can apply. I applied, and luckily my catalog consists of well-known material that I go directly into iTunes. Otherwise, there's what's called aggregators.
Right, like CD Now, CD Baby.
CD Baby, I would recommend. That is the best one.
Yeah.
But then there's other ones. If you're slightly further up the ladder, there's IOTA. I think there's Iris.
So they have a deal with Apple, and you work through their deal with Apple.
You get a percentage.
Yeah.
Actually, they take a percentage of whatever.
What about the other music stores? Are they important now? I mean, places like the Zune Marketplace, Yahoo Music, Rhapsody, Pure Tracks, how important are they? Like, much less, isn't it? We won't be mean.
I'll be honest with you. When I get, for example, I'm on CD Baby with some of my roster.
Right.
When I get the statements in, I think it's important to have a presence on everything.
Sure.
But when the statements come in, you'll see iTunes $50. eMusic $5, and the rest of them 50 cents.
Isn't that interesting?
You know what I mean?
So I'm glad to know eMusic does okay for you, though.
It does okay.
I like eMusic. I mean, I like their model.
They specialize in the more obscure and hard to get.
Right.
So definitely recommend it.
And
very
copy
aggressive.
protection free, which I like.
Protection free,
yeah.
Which I think iTunes is probably going to head that. I think
everybody has to head that way because customers don't want DRM.
Well, there was the Steve Jobs statement a couple of months ago where it's not what iTunes wants; it's what the record labels
make them
have forced them to do.
Right.
And so the day will come, and it's speeding up very quickly now.
So Allison, though, is a Second Life fanatic. Were you into Second Life before this?
No.
So you said, we need a new way to distribute this stuff, and you found this virtual world, which is very popular. Yeah. Show us, this is Second Life. You're in is this your record store?
This is our store.
You have a store.
We have a store.
Oh, wrong computer. That's my computer. That's Skype. So do I have to press a button here? They can do it themselves. Yeah. So this is your store in Second Life.
Store.
So explain quickly what Second Life is. It's like a 3D world.
It's a 3D animated world.
Okay, that's Allison standing there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my character.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically it's a Second Life, and without
people spend a lot of time in there.
They do. So you can use your imagination, create your own character. Own your own island, which we own an island.
You do?
Yeah, we own an island.
What do you call it, Bongo Beat Island?
No, it's called Aroha.
Aroha
Island Paradise.
I love that. And what do you do on the island?
Well, it's like a resort.
You should move around a little bit because people are going to think it's a still picture.
Yeah,
it's not really a still picture. There's Allison.
No. Yeah, I'm on. Our store, we created a raft, so it's like outside.
Oh, how fun!
Yeah,
it's just outside the island, or?
Well, it's floating. It's floating.
If you do a search when you go to Second Life for Bongo Beat, I imagine.
It will come up.
It will find you. And what's your character's name in Second Life?
Lavinia La Violette.
I'm Prune Face Spatula. Nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you too. We'll have to become friends.
So
I'm not being
the way you're
fly.
selling stuff is you put up these big posters and they can click on them, right?
Yeah.
Then what happens? Does it download to their computer or?
Yeah, I can do one. I can go by walking on sunshine. So I'll just click on it.
We hear it already.
I can just click on it. It's not working.
Of course, computers never work when you're on live television.
But you know what? I have backup. I can get Moxar over here. Fly over.
Moxar, help us.
Yeah.
You're our only hope. Who's Moxar? Is he
He's our tech guy.
Your virtual clerk?
Yeah. No, he's our virtual wizard.
Like the guy in High Fidelity, he won't sell you a record because I'm not going to sell you that record.
No, he's our tech, and he's in Los Angeles right now, but he's on standby.
So how much business do you get in here? I mean, do people come in here and buy music?
We're doing a little bit. It's not. We're not.
It's more about publicity.
Yeah, we're at the startup phase now.
Do you do like performances in here and stuff too?
Yeah. We have one of our artists, Ari Shine, and we've created an avatar.
So Ari will go in there and perform. Yeah,
and generally he likes to do it when he's at a venue that has internet connection.
Perfect.
And then Moxar generally will go to the show with him.
Right.
And he drives his Avi, which, and then he performs, and
That's
we stream
neat.
it in.
And people are listening to a real performance.
Yes.
But he's doing it.
Yes.
Now, some big bands have done this. I mean, this is but isn't there a limit to how many people can come into this concert?
Well, yeah, because of the sim. You can only get 50 to 60 people.
So it's not going to be a massive concert.
No.
But it is a way, I think, to get the attention of a new audience and make them aware of it. And it makes you look like, it makes Ari look like they're with it, right? They're part of the new thing.
Well, it's a way for us to get people to listen.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the big challenge, right? Hear and discover.
A lot of it is, as you say, Second Life is not something you can casually dip in and out of. It's not like MySpace.
No, you have to build a whole thing here.
Yeah.
So the general user is in there for a couple of hours.
They're engaged,
They're engaged for about 6-7 hours at a time.
Well, or longer.
And longer.
People get addicted.
It's a great opportunity because our store, while you're in there, it's got a radio stream. So
they're always hearing the music.
And there's a scroll bar that tells you what is playing.
Right.
So,
which I can show you in a second, but do you want to see a song?
Yeah,
Because Moxar's there.
So Moxar.
Yeah, he's
there's Moxar. Okay. I like Moxar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do the artists think of this? Do they love it? Do they get
love it? There's a learning curve in getting them to accept the fact that you've got to create an avatar and play two avatars.
Yeah.
But the fantastic thing is you can actually make money as an artist.
Yeah.
It's not a lot.
Not a lot.
There's a Linden currency.
But we figured it out. If you're playing a coffee house, you generally make about $30 to $50.
Right.
If you play our coffee house in Second Life, when you convert all the Lindens
dollars,
it comes to about $30 to $50 anyway. So
and you didn't have to leave the house.
That's right.
You didn't even have to put on any clothes. You got an avatar. That's pretty neat.
So as soon as we translate it into terms like that,
they got it.
Then they get it and they're in there. So what we do is, because we have Moxar in World, he guides them through it. That is the biggest stumbling block is the technology.
To get them comfortable with the technology.
Yeah, and he built our system.
He's done a neat job.
Yeah,
really
it's
cool.
MP3s and unprotected. So,
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so I'll get him. I don't know if he bought it or.
That's all right. I get the idea.
But
you know what? The best way to find out how this works, go there.
Yeah, and then on the island we also have like a.
You have a club?
We have a club.
Neat.
Yeah, and we have parties for people that just play the game, and then that way they can discover the island if they wander around.
What's the island's name?
Aroha Island Paradise.
AROHA. Aroha, like Aloha with an R.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tropical setting. It's really beautiful.
And Bongo Beat will get you there.
Yeah, Bongo Beat will get you there too.
Search for Bongo Beat.
Search for Bongo Beat.
Allison Rogers and Ralph Alfonso are Bongo Beat Records, looking for new ways to make music in the 21st century. And don't forget these CDs too. You can find out all about them on our website, labwithleo.com. Thanks for coming by.
You're welcome.
That's cool. I will stop by. Look for Prune Face Spatula.
Okay, wait. I'm gonna search.
Friend me, baby.
I am.
Yeah, I'm not there right now.
I know, but I can. But
I'll go back. Yeah.
I know, but I can invite you. So
come to our Bongo Beat.
Yeah.
I will. That'll be fun. I'll see you there. Hey, right now it's time to play What the Tech. This is a close-up of something you'd find around the lab. Looks like a speaker, but it's not. What could it be? Is it? I don't know. Let's think about that. We'll zoom out and find out when the lab continues. Stay right here. Welcome back to the lab. Before the break, we had a close-up of that. I don't know. It looks like the end of a dumbbell, or what could that be? Let's see. Oh, zoom out. It's a zip drive. See, never mind. I knew what that was, but I didn't. Never mind. You're not going to believe a word I say. No. I did. I knew it. Sean Carruthers takes us with his macro lens. Does a great job. Now, let's get another call on the air. I think we've got a grandpa.
We have Bruce, and he is from Guelph in Ontario, and this is his grandson, George.
Is that a great picture? Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Leo.
What a neat picture. What's your grandson's name?
His name is George. He's named after my father.
Oh, he's such a sweetie. What a great picture.
He's about 2 years old.
Yeah, he's got your eyes, too.
Yes, that's how I used to look a long time ago.
That's what's depressing. You look at the young people and you go, I used to be that young. Well, it's good to be what we are, too, I think, Bruce. Mm-hmm. What can I do for you today?
Well, I have a problem, and it is that just after 3 months of operation, one of the pixels on my new LCD monitor decided to rebel. First it stayed on as white, and then after a few weeks it decided to remain black.
Yeah.
And now it alternates between the two.
Oh, that's very frustrating.
Yes, it is. Is there a way of turning this pixel back to normal, or am I stuck with it till I replace the monitor? I'm concerned that this just might be the beginning of more to come.
There's 3 ways pixels can go. There's a hot pixel, which is always on, always white. There's a dead pixel, which is always black, never comes on. And then there's a stuck pixel, which could go either way. Sometimes it'll actually appear a color because every on an LCD screen you have a red, green, and blue pixel. So it could be any of those situations. Now it sounds like it might be stuck because it switched, didn't it? Was it always on and then always off?
I find that when there's a white screen it's black,
yeah.
It's very dark. In fact, it looks like a little speck of dust. It doesn't bother me. But when it's a darker screen, it comes out white. And of course, I know it's there, and I'm always looking back towards it all the time.
Yeah, that's the bad thing. Now, you have millions of pixels on that screen. So, in fact, many manufacturers will accept 1 or 2 or even more dead pixels on an LCD screen as long as they're not adjacent or joined to make a larger black blotch. Different manufacturers have different policies. In general, though, the LCD screen manufacturer has gotten so good that you don't see these very often. You definitely have a stuck pixel, and the good news is a stuck pixel can be fixed often. A couple of different ways. There's a program, believe it or not. Now, is it a computer monitor or a television?
It's a computer monitor.
Good, all right, because this is a computer program. There's 2 articles I'd look at. First of all, WikiHow, which is WikiHow. It's a how-to manual. Has a great page on how to fix a stuck pixel. And one thing they recommend is a program, we'll find it right here, called JScreenFix. What JScreenFix does is it switches the pixels on and off very, very quickly, about 60 times a second, as fast as the screen can go. And sometimes that just jiggles the darn thing and gets it to work. And it says most stuck pixels are repaired within 20 minutes. So this is a free program, jscreenfix.com.
Well, believe it or not, Leo, I found that particular program, and I've tried it 3 or 4 times, and it hasn't fixed the problem. I haven't gone beyond that.
There is another method. Now, this one I'm a little more hesitant to recommend because you can damage the screen. But you can actually massage the stuck pixel. And WikiHow, I'm going to let WikiHow tell you how because they have a very elaborate thing. But I know some people will actually just take their finger and rub that pixel. But really, you want something that's a little bit more precise. And you want to probably do it through a folded cloth so that you don't damage the screen. But really, it's just a physical thing. The LCD is a shutter that opens and closes. And what's happening is it's kind of confused. And sometimes tapping it or massaging it will fix it. Now, again, I have to warn you, you do this wrong, you could make it a worse situation. So if you can live with it, and the JScreenFix didn't work for you, then I would just live with it. But if you really bugs you, especially since it sounds like it's still under warranty, you could try to fix this with the massage method. I would try the software method first and then go to the massage method. But go to wikihow.com for details on how to fix this. And I know people who've used both these methods successfully. Is it something you can live with?
Sure. Well, thanks, Leo. All my best to you and your crew.
You're welcome, Bruce. Is it something you can live with, you think?
I can live with it. It's just that it's my first example of having a dead pixel in all the LCD screens that we do have in our home.
It's much less common than it used to be, fortunately. If you can live with it, I would leave it alone, probably.
Okie doke.
Hey, thanks, Bruce.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Bruce. Bye, George.
Bye.
Isn't he a cutie? Oh, my goodness. It's time for a free file of the day, and here he is, ladies and gentlemen. The free file man himself, Mr. Ryan Yule.
Although we really just had a free file. You just gave one away.
Screen Fix.
Yeah.
Was that going to be one of yours?
I think, maybe it was. Maybe I'm doing not so many today.
Really? Is that true?
No.
Okay. You're just teasing me.
Yeah. We did before. Program is for Mac. It's called CyberDuck. Right, exactly. So it's basically an FTP for your Mac. So
a lot of people love this. I use a paid program called Transmit from Panic, but many people say CyberDuck is good. And it's free.
It's absolutely free. It's open source. It has cool things like, for instance, Spotlight on Mac. Where you can search files. It has a Spotlight built in. It has your keychain built in, so it saves your passwords.
So this is for remote files. You can search the remote files.
So and it's literally drag and drop. So if right now I've connected to an FTP and I've kind of hidden.
We should explain. FTP is a remote server where you can download files from. Usually it's your own.
It's usually your own. So there's a file.
Do you have a lot of stickies open?
I do, because I have to cover up. This is actually a real FTP site. So
you don't want to show the...
Because it's my friend's FTP, and if it goes over there, this is the password and everything. So I'm just going to drag and drop here.
I'm wondering what all those stickies were.
All these stickies. I'm hiding the information. These are my own personal censorship.
That's a really clever way of doing it.
You just drag and drop. So it's really simple. It's really straightforward. And to open a connection, if you have a new one, you just put the server in, your username, password. There you go.
And it remembers that. So you just double click it.
And it does secure. It has bookmarks. So once you've done it the first time, you just click on the bookmark.
There's widespread support for this because it is so commonly used on the Mac. So there's a lot of CyberDuck support. So I think it's a good choice.
It's a good. The odd time I've had it kind of crash on me, but you know what? It's absolutely free and open source, and it's really good. So I would recommend it.
CyberDuck. It's our free file. Where would they get more free files if they like that one?
If they like this one, go to labwithleo.com. Click on free files, Jules. There's a couple more there, I think.
Well, I'll be hot diggity dang. Yeah. Thank you, Ryan Ewell.
You're welcome.
Yes, more of your calls coming up, but first, our quick quiz question of the day. Are you ready? Put your thinking cap on for this one. Which of these jobs has on-air call coordinator Kate Abraham not done? Chambermaid, interstitial writer, tea house waitress, or bovine pregnancy tester? I can see you in every one of those roles, so I don't know, but think about this. I think I know. Think about this. See if you can come up with it. We'll tell you a little later on when the show continues. Stay right here.
Hey, welcome back to the Lab with Leo. I'm Kate Abraham. My tip of the day is a Firefox add-on which basically makes that old key of print screen redundant. This is called Save as Image for Firefox. It's a great little app to add on to your Firefox application so that you can literally just cut and paste and show where, for instance, if there's a problem with the website you're using. So, for instance, I'm looking at the Lab with Leo site here. If I thought there was a typo in this, all I had to do is highlight it, click on right-click, click Save Page as Image. Then what happens is it saves it on here. You have the option of showing the different colors depending on which, for me, white works best. You scroll down and you can then copy this, save it and send it as an email attachment and show where the error is. So that is called Save as Image for Firefox.
Wow, that's neat.
It's a really cool one, actually.
Wouldn't just be for errors. I mean, it could be, here's something interesting.
Absolutely.
Or,
Absolutely. It's very, very cool.
I like that. Thank you. And where do we find Firefox apps?
We find Firefox add-ons.mozilla.org.
Oh, there's no slash?
Dots again.
There's no slash, just dots. Okay, let's do it again.
So it's add-ons.mozilla.org.
Thank you.
Do you like that?
I love doing that.
It's like jiving.
It's like dancing. And now Kate has another caller for us.
I do indeed. I have Gail, and she is from Corona in California.
Gail from Corona. Hello, Gail.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am good.
What can I do for you today?
Well, I need to buy Microsoft Office.
Yes.
But I have XP on my desktop.
Yes.
And Vista on the laptop.
Yes.
Is it going to work on both? Are they compatible?
Yeah, absolutely. You think Microsoft would make a product that you couldn't run on Windows? Heck no. And they do, even though it sounds like when they say Office 2007, it sounds like you have to have Vista. Absolutely not. It works fine on even older versions of Windows. Certainly XP, I think it even runs on even older versions, but certainly XP, no problem.
Well, I guess the first thing that brought the whole thing up was the fact that Works is not compatible with Word.
Right. Well, they're not really supporting Works anymore. They've kind of abandoned that. So they really do want you to buy Office.
They still put it on the computers.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? So wait a minute. You bought a computer with Vista and Works?
Yes. My brother did.
Yeah, I wonder where he got that.
From Dell.
Dell, and they put and Works doesn't work on it?
No, Works.
Oh, Works.
But everything that he's got, he's in the
his old stuff doesn't work. I get it. Yeah.
And
No. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think some of the confusion was that the last version of Office was called Office XP, or 2 versions ago it was called Office XP, which kind of implies that you had to have XP for that. They realized what a mistake they made, so then they put out Office 2003 and now 2007, and they are compatible absolutely with Vista. In fact, even 2003 works with Vista. So don't worry about that at all. There's no incompatibility
fantastic.
there. Yeah, and I think you're going to like 2007. Get ready, because there's a big change in the user interface. They're using this ribbon interface now, which I think makes sense, but initially it is very disconcerting.
Huh.
Yeah, because what happens is we get used to looking in the menus to figure out how to do stuff, right?
Exactly.
And the ribbon is designed to be kind of context sensitive. So the ribbon changes depending on what you're doing and puts the most commonly used commands right there as kind of buttons. So the theory is, well, now you don't need the menus. You can still get the menus by hitting the Alt key, but the menus have kind of taken a back seat. You can go back to the old interface if you want, but I think if you play with the new interface, after a few weeks, you'll probably get very used to it. I actually prefer it, but it did take a while to get used to.
Good.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for the call. I appreciate it, Gail.
Thank you so much for the answer.
My pleasure. Glad to be here to help.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Coming up, more of your calls in just a little bit. We're also going to talk about the new Yahoo user interface. They've open sourced it. They've made it available to anybody. If you're designing websites, this might be something you want to check out. Stay right here. The Lab continues right after this.
6, 5 commercials. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the Lab. I like to dance. You're probably wondering what I do during the commercials. Well, of course, I'm glued to the set watching the commercials, but also I like to dance. Let's get another call on. That's what Kate's doing, too.
Shimmy.
Doing the shimmy.
I have to sit down to do mine.
Yeah, that's okay.
I don't want to throw too many shapes. Anyhow, our last caller of the day is Eric, and he is from St. Thomas in Ontario.
Thank you, Kate. Hello, Eric.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Not too bad.
Welcome to the show. What can I do for you?
I have a problem with my one computer.
Yes.
It's an older Pentium 3 with Windows ME on it.
Ooh, a vintage relic.
Now, we never. That was the only thing we could afford at the time.
I'm not mocking you.
Oh, it was just before the bottom sort of dropped out. I thought with the computers when they all became a lot cheaper.
Yeah. And, it's sad because ME was such a bad operating system. But anyway, let's not go there. Let's not go down that old road. So you have an old computer.
With it, but then I only used it for certain things anyways.
Yeah, I'm sure it did fine for you. Yeah.
Now, I've inherited a few computers, and I've purchased an Apple just recently.
Oh, so you got a network.
Yeah, well, maybe one day. The problem that I'm having, though, with that old computer, it actually only has a 3.5 floppy where I can actually remove data and stuff from it. And I've tried to take off the information and put it onto my new computer. Now, the data is not too much of a problem, I guess, but it's more the pictures that I have on the...
How many pictures do you have?
Well, there is quite a few.
Gigabytes? Megabytes?
I have no idea.
Probably I would bet you the best thing to do...
Mostly just still photos.
Yeah. I would say that there are a couple of things you can do. Here's one that's going to give you some utility down the road. It's not just going to be a waste of time. There are many ways you can connect these. If it has a network card, you can network them together. You can buy USB cables that will connect them. There's a thing called the Tornado. It's a USB cable. But those are for that'll just do that. What I would suggest you do is buy an inexpensive external USB hard drive. I presume it's got Windows ME on it, so I presume that there are USB ports on that computer, yes?
No, I tried to use, what do you call those things? It's a little flash drive.
A thumb drive, yeah.
But it would not,
ME needs software to work with a thumb drive.
Oh, okay.
And nowadays, thumb drives, they just assume you're running, a modern operating system. They don't give you a disk. So you need the mass storage class drivers. You can download them and install them, and you'll need that for an external hard drive too. A thumb drive would work fine. The nice thing about an external hard drive is it's a little bit bigger, a little bit faster. It's not going to be real fast in that Pentium 3. The Pentium 3 is going to take a little bit of time because it's USB 1. But then, after you copy everything over and you put it on the new computer, you've got this USB drive, which is a great backup device. It can then be hooked up in future to any of the computers you have, including the Macintosh, and you can back up data onto it. So I like having an external drive. I think they're very, very useful, and they're not very expensive. You know, about $150 for a 250 gigabyte drive. That's probably more than you need. You could get even less expensive ones, $89 for 100 gigabytes, that kind of thing. So these are not expensive devices. Here's an example of a Hitachi we showed recently. I think this is pretty cool looking. It just plugs in via the USB port. Now, you will need software to make these work. You'll have to have the USB mass storage class drivers on there. So you might look for one that comes with a disk to work with ME. That makes it the easiest to install. But once you've installed that, you just copy the data over to the drive. Now you've got a backup of it. You put it on the new computer. You're set. The prices on these have just fallen incredibly to around about 80 cents a gigabyte. So they're very, very affordable. Now, don't hesitate to get one of the USB 2.0 drives. That's what you want. It won't run at 2.0 speeds on the old Pentium 3, but it will on the other computers. And, it's only going to be one time that you're going to use it with that Pentium 3 just to get that old data off of it. So that would be my recommendation. You can use a thumb drive if it fits on the thumb drive, but you got to get the drivers. So let me help you with that. Mass storage class, that's what it's called. And if you Google mass storage class and driver, you'll see the number of places that you can download this driver. It doesn't matter who you get it from. It's all the same. There's one driver. It comes with all versions of Windows since ME. It just didn't come with ME. You just need to install that driver, and you'll be able to then, in fact, get it from Microsoft if you want to be absolutely safe. You can download it right here, and it's very easy to use. Okay?
Microsoft.
Yeah.
I'm writing this down so
It's just see, it says Windows ME supports it. You're going to have a file called usbstore.sys. And let's see if it gives you an installer or just if you just put it on the drive. And it talks about how to do it. In Windows ME, they have some Windows ME exceptions, so you probably want to go to this site. It's just search for USB storage FAQ at Microsoft.com, and it'll explain all of this stuff, and it'll tell you how you download and install it. That's all you really need. If you had a disk, many of the USB keys used to come with disks for this purpose. If you have one of those, you can find somebody who offers that for download. That's another way to do it. Just run the installer. That'd probably be the best way to do it, and then they'll be able to do it. Hey, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Eric, now time for a shiny from Sean. He's got a little bitty Nano and a really big box he's plugging it into. What is this?
Yes, this box isn't all that shiny. Rather industrial.
It's kind of dull.
It's designed to make your audio more shiny. So we talked with Ralph earlier about some MP3s. This is designed to sort of sweeten up your sound with any audio input source that you can stick in the back. So we've got
this is the BBE Sound or Sonic Maximizer.
VG360. They've got a whole line of them. Some more professional than others. This is about $99, so it's just an entry-level version.
So there's a little plug for the for iPods. But a lot of devices will use that little plug.
And you've got
RCA jacks.
RCA jacks as well. And the goal is simple. When you're playing back things, different speakers have different methods of getting the treble and the bass out, and sometimes the timing can shift depending on what kind of speaker it is.
Talking mumbo jumbo voodoo to me.
This is one of the problems with this. It's hard to wrap your head around it.
Can you hear the difference?
You can hear the difference. So let's.
Does it really make a difference? So, we've got it hooked up, and then these dials. There's two. There's a low contour and process.
Low contour and process. So low contour is essentially your bass. So you can crank the bass out if you want. Crank it back in if you've got something that's a little bit.
I can hear the difference. You may not on your TV, but I certainly.
And then this one right here is the process is how much digital process is going into it. So you can sweeten it, dull it out a bit, and get it into the state that you want it.
Oh, that's interesting. It's almost like an unsharp mask for audio.
Kind of. So it is designed essentially.
It does make a difference. I mean, you can't hear it.
Right. So,
do you think you need it?
Do you need it? It's hard to say. We gave it to our man Chuck D in the control room.
The audio guy.
And he said it sort of roughly replicates bass and treble in a lot of ways. I mean, it does more than just that, but if you've got a tin ear like I do sometimes, you probably don't need this. But if you do want to sweeten up your sound and you just can't quite figure out how to do it, this might be a way to do it.
$100.
So $100, so it's not too expensive. It does have the multiple audio inputs, as you saw, and like I said, it's designed to adjust the timing of your frequencies. The dull, it's hard to quantify the results. Is this doing anything more than the bass and treble?
Right.
I don't know, but a lot of audio pros swear by this, so I'm going to defer to them. And the other dull, it doesn't look very pretty. So if you're putting it in with all of your high-tech equipment that's looking really good, yeah.
Oh, but you know, then they go, oh, he's got a sonic maximizer. He must have golden
It looks
ears.
like something you see in a lab.
Yeah. Ooh, he's sophisticated. Coming up, Nick Bouton is here to talk about something new from Yahoo. This is for developers, but it's going to make a big difference in how websites look going forward. And I think it's a really exciting thing that Yahoo's doing. They're just giving it away to the community. We'll talk about Yahoo's user interface tools in just a little bit. But first, a quick quiz question of the day. Which of these jobs hasn't Kate done?
I have an idea.
There's quite a long list of things she hasn't done. But among these four, which is it? Chambermaid, interstitial writer, tea house waitress, or bovine pregnancy tester? Come back with us after the break. We'll tell you when the lab continues. Welcome back to the lab. Before the break, we asked you, which of these things did Kate Abraham, the lovely Kate, not do? I'm going to guess tea house waitress. And I would guess correctly. I knew she was a bovine pregnancy tester the moment I met her. We won't tell you what that means, but for those of you who live in farm country, you probably don't need much of an explanation. Nick Bouton is here. He is a developer at Open Road Communications, does a lot of web application development, and is here to tell us about something pretty darn exciting that Yahoo has announced. We've talked before about Ajax and making modern websites that are very interactive. Yahoo's making that easier, aren't they?
Yeah, they're putting out a big set of tools called the Yahoo Interface Library, and it lets you kind of speed up the process of building Ajax and rich internet applications using their set of controls and utilities that they're putting out for free.
So this is stuff that they've developed in-house for their own site.
Yeah.
Why would they give this away?
I couldn't tell you. I guess they want to compete. I think they want to compete in the marketplace and just put out there. They're looking at Google. They're looking at other large companies that are putting out a lot of free software, and I guess this is kind of their play into the open source marketplace as well.
It's sure a good way to develop goodwill among developers. If it's good and if it works, it sounds like it does work pretty well. I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, no, it's being used on a lot of large sites right now, like LinkedIn, Slashdot. They're all kind of using a lot of different components of that YUI, as we call it. And it seems to be gaining a lot of traction. Like, it's been out for about a year and a half, 2 years, I think.
Oh, okay.
And it's getting to be a mature product now, so it's free, and it's as documented as any commercial product you'll find online, right? So
now the license, it allows you to use this in a commercial site without paying Yahoo?
Yeah, it's running on the BSD license, I think, and it's I'm not sure if it's a modified version or if it's their version of it, but yeah, you can use it pretty much everywhere.
It's very liberal. It allows you really just use it and enjoy it.
Yeah. No,
so show us a little bit about YUI and what it can do.
So the YUI has a couple of, well, actually there's quite a few different controls you can use, and I think one of the best ones that we use pretty often is the tab view control.
You see this on a lot of sites. This is a hard thing if you had to code this by hand.
Yeah, that's the thing, is in the old days, like 3, 4, 10 years ago, we had to write all this stuff by hand. Right. Now we can just get somebody to do it for us.
And worse than that, you had to write a different version for every browser. Internet Explorer works differently than Firefox, worked differently than Opera, worked differently.
I spent a lot of time crying over that.
Yeah, but they handle that, right? So it's guaranteed to work with all the major browsers.
Yeah, no, it's for sure. It works across IE, across Firefox, Safari, pretty much everything you can throw at it. Opera, it actually works on my iPhone, so that's pretty solid. Yeah.
Wow. So what is it? So I click a tab and I go to another.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You've seen this everywhere.
Yeah,
it's just a tab-based interface.
Now, that's Ajax, and the reason that's good is it doesn't have to redraw the whole page to go to the next tab view. It just changes that part. Yeah, it's much more like a desktop application than a website.
Yeah, the joy of Ajax is lack of page refreshes, right? It's making data calls to the server in the background.
It gets the data ahead of time.
Right. It's caching all stuff asynchronously. That's why it's called asynchronous. Ajax, the A is for asynchronous. So it's doing it in the background and you're not paying attention.
And now, programmers can do this by hand, as I said, but it's a lot easier if you have a library to do it. There have been other libraries. There's Scriptaculous and Prototype.
There's Dojo, there's Moo.fx, there's at least a half dozen, and then Microsoft has their own ASP.NET.
How does this compare to all the existing stuff out there?
I think it's really well documented compared to most of the stuff out there. The Microsoft stuff might come close now. It's also very easy to work with in general, since the documentation is out there and a lot of people are using it now. There's
lots of code
troubleshooting
samples.
help, there's code samples, examples.
Show us some more things you can do with it here.
So, I mean,
Tabs is great. I'm going to use that for sure.
Let me pull up here.
This is your site.
This is the product that my company puts out, Thought Farmer, and we use the YUI pretty extensively in here too. I'll just give you an example of the autocomplete function.
Oh, isn't that nice to have that built in?
It's pulling that right out of our database.
That would be a lot of code to get that working.
Oh yeah, exactly. So this is speeding up our development.
Is it just a few lines to implement something like that? I mean, how hard is it to implement?
This is pretty intense. Like there's
even with YUI, you have to do a lot of coding.
Yeah, but it's cuts it in half, right? Like I don't have to do all the front end code for it. I can just focus on the actual logic behind it.
How do you connect it to the database?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Very cool. So what are the negatives? There's got to be a negative. It's too good to be true. It's free. It's open source, right? A lot of people are using it.
I think the biggest problem that we see with it is that Yahoo does a lot of work compressing their code, so it's nice and small.
They even give you a code compressor, which is kind of neat.
And the code, you can get different versions of it for debugging and for just general use, but there's also minified versions that are where all the white space has been removed. So
hard to read.
Hard to read, but it makes your code like half the size, right? So
that is one negative of a lot of Ajax stuff is you're doing a lot of data and a lot of loading, and pages can get quite huge. Style sheets can be hundreds of K.
Yeah, you can end up with a page that's like 500K at the end of it, when really all there is like 100K of content.
Just to do a drop down.
Exactly.
So that's something to be aware of. But it sounds like this is really a great tool. Now, even if you're not a developer, you'll probably see a lot of sites using this. We thought it'd be worth telling you what Yahoo's up to.
Yeah.
And you can find out more at developer.yahoo.com/YUI. That's the Yahoo user interface. And you can find out more about Nick Bouton at nickbouton.com. What's up there? Is that a blog?
It's my blog. I do a lot of tech posts and stuff like that. So I've got a tutorial on customizing the tab view if anyone wants to go check that out.
So if you're interested in YUI, that might be a good place to start. Yeah, that's great. Or go to our website, because we've got links to all of the above at labwithleo.com. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Nice to meet you. Makes me want to code some more. Don't worry, I won't. I'll tell you what I will do. We'll take a break and we'll come back with some final words right after this. You stay right here. Welcome back to the lab. I was just chatting with Kate about her many different occupations. So I understand you probably were young and you needed the money, so you were a chambermaid. I can understand
Absolutely.
that.
That was a graphic job.
I've worked as a busboy. It's very similar. You worked as a digital writer. That was at our parent company, Rogers.
Yes, it was.
And for the Biography Channel.
Yes.
Bovine pregnancy tester.
Yes, that was.
Well, how did that happen?
I was 16 doing work experience. They make you do it in England, and I went to a vet.
Did you want to be a vet?
I did for about a year or so. I was like, I'm going to do this. This is going to be great.
Because you loved animals.
I'm going to save the world. And I stood in a cow shed for 8 hours with 188 cows.
Cow shed.
Cow shed.
Yeah, say that carefully.
And it was the most.
Although a little bit of the other stuff too, I imagine.
It was the most graphic experience.
How many cows did you test?
188.
188 cows in 8 hours.
Yeah, I didn't go in. I held the machine that shows the ultrasound of the calf.
Well, that's kind of fun.
Isn't nature grand?
Okay, we're going to step out of the cow shed for a moment and just remind you that we will be back next time for another great episode. We hope you will too. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.